I'm going to show you how to make bruschetta. So for bruschetta, it's very simple and you're going to use fresh ingredients and it's very budget friendly. So first off, we're going to use some French bread. Any kind of French bread can do. I just got pre-sliced French bread from Walmart and I have it prepped for toasting, which I'll show you that in a sec. Then you're going to need a Roma tomato. All right. Any kind of tomato would work, but Roma tomatoes are best. And a lot of people grow them in their garden. So if your parents grow them in their garden, you could use those. You can use oregano or basil. We're going to use a little bit of red onion. If you don't like red onion, you don't have to use it, but it does add a little bit of flavor. We're going to use some garlic. All right, so I'll show you how to cut all of that. And then we're going to use an assortment of mozzarella cheese and Parmesan cheese. And then we're going to use some oil, salt, and pepper. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prep our bread. So to prep your bread, as I said, I just line it up on a pan, and I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. You're going to take a pastry brush. This is a pastry brush. If you don't have a pastry brush, you literally can do this with your finger. And then you're just going to kind of paint the bread. And the purpose of you doing this is because we're going to toast it and it's going to give it a little bit of crunch and a little bit of flavor for when you put the bruschetta on it. If you've never had bruschetta before, it's kind of like an Italian style salsa. Okay? If you don't want crispy bread, you could just literally put, you don't have to toast the bread, but I like it toasted. So this is a very versatile, meaning you can do a lot of different things. Also, if you don't like bread, you could eat this with chips. You can eat this with pita chips. You can have crackers. Okay? And I'm going to put this in the oven for about 10 minutes until it turns light golden brown. And we'll be right back. All right, so we are back. And now I'm going to show you how to prep your vegetables. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to cut is your Roma tomato. So one of the main reasons why I picked this recipe and the focus of this lab is not only to make a nice summertime treat, but it's also to focus on your knife cuts. So when you're focusing on your knife cuts, you want a nice mat or cutting board. This cutting board, it is grated on the bottom, so it really shouldn't move. If you're afraid it's going to move, you can take a damp cloth and you can put it right underneath, like so. And then this will help keep it in place. So you see like it's not moving, all right? So that's a little bit more safe for you. If your parents have a wood cutting board or a rubber bottoms, that's good too. But if you have one like this works. You never wanna cut directly on the tabletop because of germs, even if it's a clean surface. Unless it's stainless steel, you don't wanna cut directly on your countertop so your parents will get mad, all right? So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a chef knife, and you might have different variations of this at your house. If you don't have a knife like this, you can use a butter knife, you can use a plastic knife from takeout, whatever you wanna do. And when you're prepping this, you always wanna make sure you have like a garbage bowl or something that you can put your garbage in. So we're gonna start by cutting our tomato in half, and then you wanna get rid of the inside. Now some people, when they make salsa or they do bruschetta like what we're making, they might keep it in there. And you can. I just don't like keeping it in there because it waters down all the flavors. So I scoop everything out. It also gives your finished product a really gummy texture. All right, so there's that. So these are all prepped. So I've already cut some of my tomatoes. This is called brunoise. Brunoise is a tiny little dice, okay? And I'll show you how to get there. So this is already 3 tomatoes that I've cut, and I'm going to cut my 4th. So to make about 12 to 14 pieces of bruschetta, you just need 4 tomatoes. All right. Now, if your tomatoes are bigger, you might have a little extra. All right. So then what you're going to do is you're going to hold on to your tomato like so it's nice and secure. And then you're going to cut julienne. So julienne, and you always cut away from you, are matchsticks. Okay, so if you can do this julienne on any vegetable, fruit. It's just a nice cut, and you always cut away from you. If you've never used a knife before like this, go very slow, all right? And always away from you and cutting downward, all right? So now I'm gonna line up all my matchsticks, and then I'm going to do my dice. And you notice I'm just going a slow rocking motion. All right. This will make it so you can get your tomatoes to go a long way. A little to go a long way. All right. Then I'm going to do my second one. So again, focus on long strides, cutting away from you. Okay. If it's not perfect, practice makes perfect. So just, at least you're learning a new cut. And then we have our julienne, and then your brunoise. Say it with me, brunoise, which is also known as a small dice. If you wanted and you don't want to focus on knife cuts, you could also chop, but this is a lot more fun and it looks more visually pleasing. All right. So then now I have my 4 tomatoes all prepped. The next thing I'm going to prep is my red onion. Now, a lot of kids do not like onions, all right? But a little onion adds a lot of good flavor. You're only going to use a very small portion of this, probably about a quarter. So I just cut this in half, all right? And then you don't really want to completely dice in to the root, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this like the other part, the other side, garbage bowl, and then I'm going to peel it back, all right? Just like so. Okay, when you cut into this root completely, that's when you start crying. So then you're going to take your knife, and I'm just going to cut about a quarter of that full onion, just like so. And I'm going to cut it off like this. And then I'm going to slice. Now, onions have a natural separation, so you can already see I'm getting a dice. All right. Now, I would say you want maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons. And this is savory cooking, so 1 to 2 tablespoons. As you notice, I don't have any measuring spoons to measure it out because I'm going to do it by eyesight, which means I'm just going to add as much as I want. All right. So that's what I mean. This is a versatile ingredient. If you don't like a lot, don't add a lot. So what I'm doing right now is now I'm chopping it. So I take the blade of my knife and I use it to gather all my ingredients or all my onion together. And then I go back and forth. So I had a small dice for making my slices, and then the onion had that natural division. And now I'm just mincing it. So mince is a really fine chop. And I'm going to do it really small because I don't love onion, but I know it adds good flavor. So if I have just a little in there, it will add a nice dimension. So we'll be right back and I'll show you what to do next. So we're back and now I'm going to show you how to cut oregano. So this is oregano. The oregano comes in a package like this and you can get it anywhere. If you don't have fresh oregano, you could also use dried oregano. And in the recipe that I'll give you, I'll show you the variation of like how much to use in its place. You can also use basil. Most bruschetta recipes use basil or oregano. Basil was sold out because of the quarantine, so I got oregano. It's fine. So when you are taking a leafy spice like this that's fresh, you literally pick it up like so, and you just drag it to get all those leaves off. If you get some of the stem in there, it's totally edible. It's just you want just pretty much the leaves. All right. So then I'm gonna put that in my garbage bowl. I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna go back and forth in a choppy motion, and I'm gonna do a very fine mince. All right. So we cut our onion in a fine mince, but this is a solid vegetable, where this is a leafy vegetable or a leafy spice. So it's gonna look a lot different. Okay. Again, use that to guide. Back and forth, and we're pretty much there. All right. So if you were making salsa, this would replace like the cilantro. All right. So I'm going to pick this up just like so, very carefully, and I'm going to put it in a little bowl. You don't have to do this. You could add this all, but for the purpose of my demo, I'm just separating everything apart. All right. The last thing I'm going to show you how to cut is garlic. So I have some minced garlic. So garlic comes in what's called a clove, all right? You might have seen this before. They sell it at any grocery store. People grow it. And this is a bulb of garlic. And then within it, there's probably like 10 to 12 of these little cloves, all right? So I took one apart and I have it all here, all right? There's lots of gadgets that you can use for cutting garlic. This is a garlic press. You might have one of those. This is a garlic shredder. You go back and forth like this. Or if you don't have any of that, you can use your knife. So let me show you. You take this and you press it, and then you peel away the excess skin here, all right, garbage bowl. And then you're gonna go through like this and you slice it very carefully because this is small. And I would say this recipe, I would use about 3 to 4 cloves, okay? And then you're gonna go back and forth just like so, okay? Now, oops, sorry. You don't want it too chunky, or else when you bite into it, you have a big chunk of garlic, and no one wants to bite into a big chunk of garlic, because then you're gonna be really smelly for days, all right? So like back and forth like this, back and forth. All right, and I'm just gonna smash it a little bit more. All right, so we have our garlic. I'm gonna add that to my already cut garlic, just like so. And then I'll show you how to use the garlic press. Now, if your parents do have one of these and you've never used it before, it's super cool to use. You don't have to peel it. You just put this in there, and then this little press, you put right in the insert, and then you push, and it's gonna come out these little holes here. So you're gonna do it over something, you can see, and then you push it as hard as you can. It comes out there, like you really gotta push. And then it literally minces it, and it kind of like mashes it. And then you open it up, and you have your peel already there. So it's a little bit easier. Cool gadget. You can get this at Walmart, Jewel, dollar store, all right? So now we have all of our ingredients cut, and I have a bowl, and I am going to add these are 4 tomatoes that we cut brunoise, which is a small dice, okay? I'm going to take about a tablespoon of our cut onion, all right? I'm going to take about a half of a tablespoon, which is 1.5 teaspoons of our garlic. I'm going to take about 1 teaspoon of our oregano. All right. Now, if you have measuring spoons at home like this, you can absolutely follow it. Little t is teaspoon, big T or TBSP is tablespoon. And that will be specified the exact amounts if you want to be specific. But with something like this, you don't have to be specific. Then I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of oil, okay? I'm using extra virgin olive oil, but you can use any kind of oil that you have at your house. I'm going to start mixing this around just like so. And then we're going to add our seasoning. So oil serves as an adherent, like glue. So it will stick the salt and pepper on, so it kind of marries together. So I'm going to do it in my hand first, and I'm going to do about a quarter teaspoon to a half teaspoon of salt. This is all by sight. So if you like your food salty, you can add a little more, all right? And then I'm just gonna do a sprinkling of black pepper, and I mix this around, just like so, all right? Then we're gonna be putting this on our bread. If you're not gonna put it on bread and you're just gonna use this as like a dip, you can add the cheeses directly to this. I'm gonna sprinkle mine on the top, and I'll show you how to do that. We'll be right back. So we're back, and I started assembling the bruschetta already. So when it comes out, it's gonna be nice golden brown like this, and we have the oil that gives it a little bit of flavor and crispness. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take a spoon, and you're going to layer it right on top of your bread, your toasted bread. Now, I put cheese on it, and I'm gonna put it back in the oven just because I like my cheese melted. If you don't have to put cheese on it. You could literally just put it on here and eat it like this. You can put bruschetta out and then just dip it. It's totally up to you, which is why this is such a great summer dish. All right, just like so. And then I'm going to take a little bit of mozzarella cheese, literally a small little amount on each one, just like that, just to add a little bit of dimension of flavor. This is actually could be like a meal with like a salad or something. It could be an appetizer. So there's mozzarella, and then I'm also gonna put, because I really like cheese, just a little dab of Parm. If you don't have Parmesan cheese like this, if you have the stuff in the green shaker can, that works too. And again, if you don't have cheese, then don't add any. All right. I'm gonna put this back in the oven for about 5 minutes until golden brown. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So I just took this bruschetta out of the oven, so you can see that the cheese is melted, slightly golden brown. Now let this cool, and then you'll use some type of turner to take this off, and you can serve it to your family. You can eat it. Just wait for it to cool. Thank you.